Hello, this is Daniel Mart, and today I'm going to be doing another discussion topic, and this one's going to be for The Walking Dead. No, I know I'm a little bit late for this one. I'm a little bit behind on videos. It's just that my computer hasn't been working properly for the past couple of days. So I was originally going to post my theory video, my weekly theory video, as well as my review for Gotham, Arrow, Agent Carter, Constantine, Flash, Arrow, and all that other good stuff. But due to the fact that my computer's not working, it really put me behind on videos. So yeah, I'm trying to get back on that as fast as possible. So yeah, this is a discussion topic I've been wanting to do. Couldn't do it due to my computer. So yeah, basically this one's gonna be Tyreese. Basically, what would have happened if Martin had been killed when initially at the beginning of season 5? So yeah, basically, in the previous episode, what's happening, what's going on. You have Martin's ghost or whatever. And during Tyrese's hallucinations, you have Martin teasing or making fun of Tyreese, saying, all this could have been avoided if you would have killed me. He's like, he says, Gareth probably would have never found you, blah blah blah, and all this would have been better. Bob would have still been alive, blah 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 blah. So basically, how much of that is true? How much would have really changed if Martin had been killed from the get go, from the beginning? First off, Bob would have still died regardless, because yes, he did get his foot cut off, but you have to remember that before that he was bitten. He was bitten at the food bank. So whether he had his foot cut off or not, he would have still died due to the infection. He would have still died. Yeah. So you have that. Now Gareth would have Gareth's group found the Rick and the others. If Martin had lived, maybe there's a possibility it would have been 50-50. They could have found the group or not. Because here's the thing: when Bob was taken, yes, Martin was the person who found Bob, and took him to the place, but anybody could have really stumbled upon Rick's group, could have found Rick's group, and then, same situation, someone probably could have been kidnapped or not, and regardless, the cannibals, Garrett's group, the termites cannibals, could have still possibly died, one way or another, or not. So the one thing that would have been changed is the fate of the cannibals, of termites, and what would have happened to them. Either A, they could have still found the Rick's group and maybe kill one of their people, one of Rick's people, but at the end, the cannibals or termites would have died regardless. Or B, they could have just gone on their separate ways, and we could have never seen the termites situation. So yeah, now also, regardless, we would have had Abraham, and he still probably would have gone to Washington regardless, whether the termites were a threat or not at this point. The only difference with that being is that one, Glenn and the group possibly would have stayed with Rick, and two, what would have Abraham's fate be if they did go on the road to Washington? In my opinion, I don't think it would have changed much, because either way they would have had to hit. They would have had to encounter that group of walkers, 1,000 walkers, and Eugene would have still would have still broken the bus. They would have still found the fire truck. They would have still gone throughout the same road, and yeah, they would still find the sea of walkers, and regardless, Eugene being scared would have said, he's not a scientist. Same situation would have gone down, and then they possibly would have turned back. Now as for Atlanta, Carol and Daryl would have still gone to Atlanta regardless. They would have encountered Noah. Carol would have been ran over, and Daryl would come back with Noah, and same situation, and the group would go to Atlanta. The only difference this time being that maybe more people would have gone to Atlanta alongside Rick. Glenn could have gone there, and Maggie, Tara could have possibly gone there. Michonne at the end, maybe the whole group could have gone there because really at that point, Glenn and Maggie and Tara, they would have really no reason to go with Abraham, So it makes sense for those three to stay with Rick. Abraham leaves, and then they figure out that Noah and Daryl, they find out that whole situation, that Beth's still alive. So in reality, they probably would have all gone. I mean, yeah, really the only change is what will happen to Abraham. I mean, the only two major changes is one, what would have happened to Abraham's group, and B, the second change is what would have happened to the termites. I mean, termites, they still had a 50-50 chance of finding the group and then possibly dying by the end of the first half. So that really wouldn't have changed much. In the second, I mean, really the only major change is what happened to Abraham. What will happen to his group? Him, Rosita, and Eugene. One, would Glenn and Tara and Maggie still go with him? And B, would they have returned to the? I mean, ideally, they probably would have still returned to the church. And maybe they wouldn't have found Michonne and the rest of the group, and then maybe they'd be on their own, and who knows what would have been afterwards. But really, nothing really would have changed regardless. Bob would have still died because he was bitten. The Gareth's group still possibly had a chance of finding out where they were, and even if they weren't, by the end of the first half, they wouldn't have been much of a threat to the group regardless. I mean, Abraham's fate, that would have been different. Abraham, Rosita, and Eugene's fate, that would have probably been different. But then you also have the stuff with in Atlanta. They would have captured the group, the three officers. Same situation would have gone down. Really, nothing would have really changed that much. Just really the fate of the termites and what would have happened to Abraham's group afterwards. So, was Martin right? Would Bob still be alive, and would everything would have been normal? Really, close to nothing would have changed. If anything, the Gareth's group would still probably be alive. If anything, and even after that, they're not really good at hunting anything aside from people, and it really doesn't seem like there's many people around there, so they would have had to start cannibalizing. And yeah, when you really think about, they would have started cannibalizing on each other, and when you really think about it, the area in which they were in, the glass was about to break, so they would have had to move, and they probably would have stumbled upon the group regardless. So really, almost nothing would have changed. Almost really nothing would have changed in my opinion. So was Martin right? Would the whole situation have changed if Martin was killed from the get-go? Not really. The only real change would have been that what would have been Abraham's groups, and what would have happened to them. Would they have reunited with the group at the end or not? That's really the biggest thing. Second being, would have Gareth's group survived at the end? And yeah, that's basically for this discussion topic. Comment down below on your thoughts on this. Do you think that Martin was right, and do you think that a lot of stuff would have changed if he would have been killed from the get-go, or do you agree with me saying that not that much would have changed if he were killed from the get-go? What are your thoughts on that? Comment on that down below. Let me know. Like the video, share on Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, or whatever you guys prefer. And that's basically it for now. This is Daniel Mart signing off.